This is the Football Pink podcast. Welcome to episode 2, where we're going to have a little talk about the fixture list for the 2019-20 season. So, my name's Scott. I'm here joined by my dad.
I'm Simon Parr.
So, this is our second episode. So, for everyone's that listened to our first episode, which was on a Champions League special, thank you. We've received really good feedback from it. If you haven't had a listen, go have a listen first. It's on Spotify, iTunes and Google. And that's about it. So we'll get going with the podcast. So, Simon, fixture list. First thoughts.
Okay. Wow, what a busy season ahead. It's going to be manic trying to fit this lot in. I don't know about you. I sort of look at it from two perspectives. It's like the pre-season fixtures, because that's all the fun and the buzz. But then I love to look for some of the key fixtures, you know, the Derby, United, City as well these days, of course. It wouldn't normally have been, it'd normally be the Arsenal and that kind of stuff. So they're some of the key things. But we've also got some other big games coming up thick and fast. It's going to be a really busy early part of the schedule.
Like you said, for me, we're first looking at the fixture list when it first gets released. The first thing I look at is obviously who we're playing first day. Hopefully, you're getting a shitter team at home, which no offense, Norwich, we have, you know.
Jackpot.
Who we get on the last day, because we want to see where we're going to be lifting the trophy. Looking at, obviously, Newcastle away. I mean, it's a bit tough that we're away from home, but wrap it up the week before. And obviously, for me, then it's when we play City, because for me, they're the games where the season's going to be won or lost. Basically, for me, you see that as a two-legged tie. You win that over 2 legs, you win the league.
Yep.
I think that's shown this year.
Agreed.
We dropped 4 points in this year. They got 6 on us, and we lost the league by a point. So they're the first things I look for. What about yourself? First thing you look for when it's first released?
First release, Derby, for me. When are we going to play Everton? It's just historically for me. It's sort of like that's what I'm looking for. So, the fact that Everton never beat us at Anfield for what feels like forever is still irrelevant.
I'm not sure they have in my lifetime, actually.
Yeah, but it's still irrelevant. I still remember the days when Everton were a really big challenge. But I love the fact that we're playing them, early December. I'm looking forward to sort of like singing "Merry Christmas, Everton" on the run in. It's going to be great.
Whoever's doing these draws, they're loving giving us Christmas presents, aren't they? Every year. I mean, they're getting further and further back, unfortunately. So it's early December this year, but Everton in December is like a new tradition for us now. Really, isn't it?
It is. But it goes back to the old days. In the old days, the Boxing Day games would always be against local opposition, so fans never had to travel too far. And I'd still like to see that go back to that kind of thing. So the teams, the players, the families all get some kind of Christmas celebration, because Boxing Day is only a local game. What you don't want to be doing as a fan or as a player, having to travel to Southampton on Boxing Day, and it does happen. So I think I'm really pleased with that. I'm looking at the pre-season tour.
So we'll get at the beginning. So we'll start in July. Pre-season tour kicks off in July.
We're
first game
literally
against Tranmere.
2 weeks away from the first game, or just 2.5 weeks.
So we're recording this on the 23rd of June. So season's felt like it hasn't. It's like forever since we've watched Liverpool play. It's been about 3 weeks, I think. So 3 weeks of 52 of European champions, which is
it's going to be
not
a good
bad.
season.
So, like I said, Tranmere away first game, 2.5 weeks away.
Yeah, kids will have a run out.
Like I said,
they'll enjoy that.
A lot of players away, so it is the kids, really, isn't it?
I know, but it's good for Tranmere. It's good for local supporters.
For those
to get
that don't
down
know,
to Parr.
Tranmere is the third team in Liverpool. Probably the second best team in Liverpool behind
Everton.
In front of Everton, behind us. So they're on the whittle.
Yeah, on the other side of the water. So
it is a local game, Tranmere. So it's good for them boys to get a run out against a team like Liverpool.
Back in the day, Ian Rush used to manage over there as well, and he actually got Tranmere back onto winning ways for a long time. They're a good little setup. But it's good for supporters. Is going to a pre-season game at a.
Well, a lot of Liverpool and Everton fans also, they follow Tranmere because they are in the lower divisions.
Yeah, so it'll be a good trip. Whatever happens. I think we go to Tranmere one year. I think we did. I think we might have gone to one.
I think it was Wrexham.
Well, we went
to
Wrexham. Yeah, so that's right. So pre-seasons are a good trip to get out.
Especially for those that don't get to a lot of games. Obviously, us living in the UK, we never had a season ticket. We didn't get to as many games as we would have liked. So the pre-season games were a fantastic way to get to see whether the kids or not, see the team play.
And it's nice to take the young kids to those games as an introduction to watching Liverpool. And it's good. Really, really good.
So we go to Bradford, away from home.
Okay, special charity game. Stephen Darby. For those that don't know, Stephen Darby came through Liverpool ranks. He actually played, I think, about 6 games for the first team. Then moved on to Bradford. He was never going to be a first team regular, but he was going to have a decent career. Unfortunately, he was diagnosed with motor neurones disease, and Liverpool and Bradford are doing their bit to
raise money.
Generate funds for his charity, which I think is a really good thing. So, and again, a good hit out away at Bradford.
It's a win-win. You use it as pre-season friendly, but you also get the charity side of it for him and his family, really.
Yeah, and again, mostly the kids out. It's almost as though he'll be testing the kids who he's going to take over to the States on, and also
who he's going to sell
tour.
and who he's going to put out on loan.
Yeah.
So there's a few fringe players that are on the verge. Could we sell them, or are we going to keep them, put them on loan? These type of games, and like you said, basically it's like a trial game to see who's going to get on the trip to
the US.
Yeah.
But I think that's where they'll be seeing really who he's going to put out on loan. That's for me the US trip that comes out. What deals are getting done. I'm gutted because we had hoped the pre-season tour would have been here this year. There was a big push from the boys in Perth to try and get the pre-season tour over in Perth this year. Good effort from them, really good push. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Hopefully, it'll happen next year. And if it does, we'll be there.
100%.
But,
you see why they go to the US.
You can, and they had a feeling they were going to win something this year. They were hoping they were going to, I hope they're going to take the Premier League trophy.
I remember going to TNS,
good God, yeah.
The year after we won the Champions League in 2005, although we got it, could we finish 5th, we had to go through qualification rounds to get in.
Yeah.
So we got to the qualification round at Anfield. Gerrard went on to score a hat-trick, but I remember before the game, they paraded the trophy around the pitch, didn't they? The kids got to walk around with it.
And it was brilliant.
So that's, again, like you said, that's what they'll do.
Players.
Every single game, they'll parade the trophy around.
Yeah, and that's why, oh God, if only if it was in Perth.
Could you imagine?
But, next year in Perth with the Premier League trophy.
So we got some tough opposition. I mean, I don't think it's as hard as last pre-season in the US. We had, like, say, City and United away. But
that's it, because that was that Champions Cup thing.
Dortmund, Sevilla and Sporting as well. 3 top-level teams.
There is. It all depends. All 3 or 4 teams will put out junior squads because it is pre-season. And I don't think we've got to read too much into any result that comes out of this. This is just, a party for Fenway Sports Group and a training sessions, glorified training sessions for Jurgen Klopp and looking at the broader squad. Again, we've got to remember that we've got 5 players away on international duty at the moment. Saleh, Mane, Keita's gone with the squad, I believe. But
he was always going to travel.
But whether he's played, but he's still travelled, And then you got Firmino and Alisson also playing. So them being out is a big hole, and they'll need some kind of rest and recuperation. So I can't see them joining up with, maybe towards the back end of the American tour, they'll join with the squad. But we'll have to wait and see on that one.
So we've got, you discount the game against Schalke, but if you add that in as well before the season was drawn and count the Charity Shield as well, that's a glorified pre-season friendly. Means we'd have had 9 pre-season friendlies before the season starts. It's very similar to last year.
Yeah,
we had 9 as well. I think we had about 8 or 9.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Pardon?
If it isn't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. Do you reckon there's some sort of
a model,
that template that they've just copy and pasted this season?
Definitely, 100%. I think they've looked at what they did well last year and the year before and the year before, and the tweaks that they've made. I think some of the things they've done on some of the pre-season games in previous years hasn't worked. They learned from that. They put it together last year and it worked really, really well. So now, that, as you say, it's rinse and repeat. I'm pretty sure that the senior members of the squad will have had their say, as regards what they think worked and what they think didn't work. And they'll refine it year on year. But I think they obviously think that this is a sweet spot for a number of games. They've got those early local games building up to these higher pressure games in the US, and then coming back in and on the running into the Charity Shield. Yeah.
So we've got Napoli and Lyon to finish it off. Napoli in Scotland and Lyon in Geneva.
Yeah, it's strange. The Scottish one is the one that strikes me. We've never ever took the squad pre-season up to Scotland. I'm presuming that the reason for it is a PR thing. And great, Scottish supporters get to see the team.
We're a worldwide supporter base, aren't we? So
yeah.
The more, like we've said, we've had, when people come here, Liverpool come here, United are coming here in pre-season, they're going to fill out stadiums. It's fantastic for the supporters base out here. So like you said, just for people up in Scotland, it's good to see the boys play. And
it'd be interesting to see Muddyfield absolutely ram-packed and singing You'll Never Walk Alone.
Just like it was in Ireland last year.
Yeah, it's going to be a good sight, that. I'm looking forward to that.
Lyon in Geneva is also a strange one. I understand why they can't play at home, because obviously, for those that don't know, Anfield's having a lot of concerts on lately. We've had Take That and Bon Jovi played the past month. So that, the ground needs to be relayed and stuff like that. So I understand why they're away, but going from Scotland and then going to Geneva, bit of a strange one.
Yeah, Switzerland. I mean, I've got no idea on that one. I really, I haven't seen any headline to suggest why it's there at all. In Switzerland, it does have good football support, but it's a very small country in real terms. It'll be interesting to see how big the stadium is and how packed it is. I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it'll be a success. It's not too far away as regards a trip, but it's far enough to take the team and get them in isolation. I'm sure there's a reason.
Especially when it's only maximum of 4 days before a Charity Shield game, so we'll probably go straight from there to London, really.
Yeah, potentially. And we had the Schalke games that was supposed to be squeezed in just after the Charity Shield game cancelled, because we're on the run into the season. But
Charity Shield, glorified friendly, or is it something you want to win?
It's always something you want to win, but it is a glorified friendly. I think he will be resting players. He'll be looking at the players coming back in from the international games. The sports scientists are heavily involved, so they'll be saying to him, you can only play that player for so many minutes of so many games through this 9-game plus Charity Shield run. And the Charity Shield is definitely a friendly to me, but it is a friendly that they will want to win. And I think they'll set out their stall to win, but I can't see that we'll have all of the front three playing the whole game, for example.
For me, if Watford had beaten City, this will be taken a lot less seriously. For me, it's a chance to set down a marker, make a statement. However, we do have a lot of players out. Obviously, City do have a few players out as well, like Gabriel Jesus and Fernandinho away also. Ederson all away as well. However, it's obviously we don't know before any transfers have been made at this moment. City have a better squad than us.
They do.
City have a better squad than us. So, say if we would have this game tomorrow with the same squads and the players coming back, City would have a stronger starting 11 than what we would.
Yeah, our starting 11. In fact, I'd say our starting 13 kind of thing match City's. It's when we go beyond that 13, our fall away is a lot higher. Then again, we get some of our injury issues resolved this year, and we got the Ox back, and I think he's going to be utilised heavily.
Chamberlain and Brewster as new signings.
New signings, correct. And I do think they're going to feature heavily through this pre-season run and early in to the run in the start of the season. And if that works, then great.
So Norwich first day, I think it's the perfect.
100%.
It's perfect, really, isn't it?
For newly promoted team coming up.
First day, Friday night is going to be ram-packed Anfield. Lads and lasses are going to be in the bars, nice and early, straight from work, if they go to work.
First game at Anfield is Champions of Europe. 6 times ringing around the stadium. The trophy paraded before the game.
And every single fan is going to be watching us.
Yeah.
Because it's the opening day. Everyone watches the opening day game. Us at home to Norwich. Anfield will be bouncing. It's perfect.
Yeah. If we don't get 2 points from that, there's something wrong. Yeah. The alternate of that as well is City away to West Ham at a 12:30 kickoff. Wouldn't want to be doing that.
You say that, I mean, I was a bit worried about West Ham. They made some good signings last year, so playing them open day was a bit worried. We went and romped them 4-0. I mean, you look at maybe from, November, December last year, you started watching every single Man City game going, okay, we won, now it's your turn.
Yeah.
That's going to be from day one this year. So already we're thinking, okay, we should beat Norwich. West Ham away we dropped points there last year.
Yes.
It's a notorious tough place to go. Already we're looking at going, can they drop points there?
And I know City have this really deep squad, no question.
They are ageing.
I want to know what the impact of losing Company is going to be. You cannot replace that character in the dressing room. Leadership, everything about it. I think that is going to have a bigger impact.
We've seen the All or Nothing Man City on Amazon, and you see what type of. If you haven't, I recommend it. It's amazing. You see what type of leadership he brings to a dressing room. Before every game, half time, even when he's not even playing, because obviously he has been injured a lot. He's there in the change room. He's firing them up. He's there when they've lost. That type of character, you can't buy that type of character.
I mean, as you say, he's the cultural ambassador. Can't remember the book. I'll have to dig it out from somewhere. But there's a book on cultural leadership that's really, really well done. The Barcelona Way, it's called. That's the one. And what they say is culture is what is made when the leader is not in the room. So when Guardiola's not in the room, what is the culture like? And you've got people like Company who are driving that culture. He's no longer there. And I don't see that they've got really big people like that. So I think there's a chance they may drop a point. And I hope they do.
It starts now, doesn't it? Can we pick up points? And then, less than 5 days later, we're on our way to Qatar for the Super Cup.
That worries me. Again, that's a long way to go.
Both teams, it's a long way to go.
Very hot. Yeah, but City aren't going. That's where I'm coming from. The Super Cup, I want us to win it because we've never won the damn thing. It's okay. Maybe we have. But I didn't think we had for a long time. There you go. But either way, it's a long, long way. 70-degree heat in Qatar. I don't know. It just worries me that's going to take us off our rhythm.
Read something. Apparently, it's only going to be around 24, which is nice and not bad. It's not going to be stupidly hot.
Yeah, so I say.
But it's only going to be around the 24 degrees, which is compared to people in England, it is hot, but it's not the extreme hot that Qatar has got.
But again, you're at the start of the season. You're not fully match fit.
Klopp will use that as a pre-season camp. Although it is only for a matter of days, he'll use that as like a warm weather training camp. The only issue with that is you go from one extreme to the other. You're nice and hot, and then you're going down to the south coast, Southampton.
3 days later on the south coast, cold, wet. Yeah, actually it's August, so it probably is cold and wet.
I mean, you look at the opening 4 Premier League fixtures: Norwich at home, Southampton away, Arsenal at home, Burnley away. It's the Southampton game that worries me.
Yeah, agreed.
Notorious tough place to go. they struggled last season. They finished well under the Hasenhüttl. I can't remember the manager's name.
Hasselhüttl.
There you go. He really got them firing towards the end of last year, as we saw in the game we played against them. But that'll be probably their first home game of the year, so they'll be bouncing for that. But you got Arsenal. I mean, we're notorious good at home against Arsenal. To be honest with you, I think it's been 4 or 5-0. We've been beating them at home.
That's what I'm looking forward to. I think, we turn them over. Sorry to our Arsenal friends, but I think we turn them over.
But you look at the first 4 games, you think, you're looking around 12 points there.
Yeah, you'd like to think so.
Burnley away again's tough, but...
Yeah, but I think we've sort of gotten that egg broken now. I think, I don't see Burnley as they beat us a few years ago, and I think it put a bit of a hoobie-dooby on us, to be honest. But now, I think going into that, I don't see
I like going in there in August.
Yeah.
A tough place to go when it's wet. The way they like to play, they like it wet, they like it damp, they like cold nights there. We're going 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Yeah, agreed.
Moving into September, Newcastle at home. I mean, it's always tough to look at it from this point of view, but Newcastle, you're thinking to be about mid-table side at home. They're teams you expect to beat.
They are, but remember they've had a pile of money. The sales
they're signing
gone
Neymar,
through,
aren't they? They're signing Mbappe. They're signing Messi.
And who's going to be the manager? At this stage, there's no fear, but I worry that they may splash some cash towards the end of the window, and we might see some names coming in there. Then again, it's still September, it's still fairly early on, so it'll take time for any big names to hit the ground. That block of 3, Newcastle home, Chelsea away, Sheffield away. You're
looking in the middle of Newcastle and Chelsea. Match day 1 of the Champions League will be in between that.
Yeah.
Away to Chelsea after. I mean, we don't know our draw. Hopefully, we should get an easier draw compared to the last 2 seasons, as we are going to be seeded. Because in case you didn't know or you've been living under the rock, we are European champions.
Are you sure? Was it number 6?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it was.
So we are seeded. So we should have an easier draw. I mean, you still got likes of Atletico, Real Madrid in pot 2. But we should get an easier draw. But either way, any team you place in the Champions League, as we saw playing Red Star, go in there and then have maybe to come back to Chelsea will be tough. I mean, Chelsea away, you'd probably take a point.
You say that. This year, we've got to go through everything and say we've got to be winning every game.
It's the old cliche is, against the top 6, get a point away. I think it was Sir Alex that kind of made this famous. Go away, it might have been Jose, one of the 2 bastards. 1 point away from home, and you beat them at home.
Yeah, but that was pre-City. Unfortunately, apart from the fact, like you said earlier, we have to beat City home and away. Then we can afford to drop points somewhere else. But if we're going game by game, head to head with City, and they're not dropping points, we can't afford to drop points there. And I think that's got to be in the mindset of this team, that they've got to attempt to be an Invincibles team again,
So then Sheffield away finishes that off, newly promoted side. October looks very tough. It starts with a Champions League match day 2. Again, don't know who we're getting, but it starts with a Champions League game. We then have an international, so then we have Leicester at home. I think Leicester will be pushing for a top 6 place this year.
Yeah, okay, that's a big call.
Pushing United, because United are shite. So they'll be
that's
pushing,
not such a big call.
I think they'll be pushing United. So I've seen them against Leicester. They were very impressive. Then we have a bit of an international break before we're coming back.
We're lucky. I just hope there's no bloody injuries.
You have United away, a Champions League game, and then Tottenham at home. Now that is a bit of a tough week. You're hoping that game in between is a game at home. We're not having to travel to the shit end of Russia. But that could be a very tough week.
Yeah, and they're the weeks that start designing your scene. It's at that time of the year, that's when it all starts. You get results out of those, and you start looking forward to we're in a good vein of form and good rhythm, and you start you start looking ahead towards Christmas at that point, thinking, we're actually, we can do this.
Just looking at the notes here, a League Cup round, third round. We haven't actually, the dates haven't been released for the FA Cup and the League Cup yet, so we're going off last year's.
Yeah, to give us a rough idea
date.
Where they are.
So in and around this is going to be a third round draw as well for the League Cup. Let's hope we can get not Chelsea at home. Let's hope we can get a better team for that. But then we move into the November. Starts with Villa away.
Again,
I like Villa.
You're just looking at that and thinking, but it's November, it's Villa. We should be just we're at the point now where we should just be putting these teams to bed, doing the business and going home.
Easier said than done. We got, if you look at the notes here, we got Villa away, Champions League game, City at home. So, you think of it as a tough week. Again, you're hoping to be home for that Champions League game, but if you're looking back to, if you're going to be at home in between United and Tottenham, you're going to be away between Villa and City.
Out, yeah.
So you look at it, it's going to be either week's going to be tough. So do you play more, just say, stick with the squad we've got now, do you play Shaqiri and Origi away to Villa? Champions League game, because City at home is a must-win.
Yeah. His City at home is a definite must-win. And I think this is where Klopp will be looking at the Champions League and potentially on, if we got the away game, just going away for the draw. Putting a team out.
Do what Rafa does.
Yeah.
Rafa did it perfectly.
And to be fair, Klopp did it well last year. Everyone slated the fact that in the group stages, we weren't winning games, as much as we should be.
We didn't necessarily play well, though, did we, that Napoli
we
away
didn't,
game?
But we got results when we needed to. And if that means we have to put, not weakened squads out, but squads set up to do a job for the away legs, to then come home and put the big guns out, so we are ready for the Man United games, we are ready for the City games. That's what's got to be done, and that's why we have a squad.
So then, Palace away and Brighton, Hove Albion at home. You'd think that's 6 points. However, again, Champions League game is going to be thrown in between them two.
Yeah.
And somewhere in there, around a 16 League Cup tie as well.
Yeah.
So, again, another very, very packed month for November, and that's before you get into the crunch month of December, which is where people say titles are won.
And traditionally, we've always fell away in December and January. When you've been coming, you've been growing up, I've always been saying to you, I just want to be in the title race after Christmas, because that's when the fun and games starts. The amount of times we go into December, drop points, and go into January fighting, and then you come into February and you're 6-8 points off the pace, and any chance of the title's gone.
You look at that December though, and you can see nothing less but 18 points.
No.
Maximum points from that. That is probably the perfect December we could have asked for.
Absolutely.
No big six side. Okay, you've got Leicester and Wolves at the end and Everton at the top, but the way we are, you can't see anything less than 18 points.
Yeah, it's December and you've got to go down to Bournemouth in December. It's not the greatest trip, but you've got to do it at some time, At least it's not February, I guess.
But you're looking then throwing a Champions League game in there somewhere around the 10th or the 11th. So that will be in between Bournemouth away and Watford at home. And then you're thinking around the West Ham game will be rescheduled because we are away in the Middle East for the
Qatar,
Club World Cup.
So I think with those three, as you say, we'll take the points. Any Champions League game that's thrown in at that point, we will be looking to get full points from, because you can see in these games playing some of the fringe players to make sure that the heavy guns are all available for the Champions League game.
Or you look at it the other way around. That's match day 6. Hopefully we can have top spot or at least qualification wrapped up by that point.
Be nice.
So that's a throwaway, not say throwaway game, but that's a game maybe we just need a point to top that. We're already through, a point to top the group.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
But that's saying that we've won the other games, which are sandwiched between Man United and Man City games.
Exactly.
So I think it's probably going to be more that we've sacrificed a little bit in those earlier games, and at that game, take 3 points, you qualify. And around that, in the Premier League, we've got easier games, and as such, that's the way I see it panning out.
League Cup game's going to be thrown in there somewhere. But you think, with all these games and, the tough few months of the season we've already had, Klopp will use that Club World Cup as somewhat of a
nice to have.
A one-weather training camp. We know how he loves them. We've been to Marbella many a time for the. Wouldn't surprise me if we go away for them international breaks. So he may use that again. We only have the 2 games away on the schedule break.
8,500 miles is not a quick trip to Marbella.
It isn't, but it can be used as a warm-weather training camp.
I get it, but
we only technically have the 2 games. Being champions of Europe, if you didn't know. Takes us.
What was that? Are we champions of Europe?
6 times, I think.
6 times, yeah, I thought we were.
So we go straight into the semi-finals with what other clubs FIFA throw at us that we're not even going to try and name.
Yeah, because they're pretty tough. But they're from Tunisia, Mexico, Monterrey, and Caledonia for Oceania. And that's before others have yet to qualify. So.
Exactly. So, but luckily we're straight into the semi-final. So we're only going to have 2 games, which will be a semi-final and let's hope a final, not a third place playoff. So I think it will be used as a warm weather training camp. That's the competition we haven't won. In 2005 we lost to Sao Paulo in the final, we will look to win that, because although it is a pretty average tournament, it's
a trophy to put in the cabinet.
Exactly, and hopefully we have a League Cup final to look forward to. We've already won the Charity Shield, we're top at Christmas, and hopefully put a Club World Cup, be world champions as well.
Wouldn't be a bad year, would it?
What a way to finish Christmas. So we go into January, start the new year. Not bad. Home to Sheffield.
Only Sheffield.
But it's a good way to start the season. Start the year. Home to Sheffield. That's where the FA Cup starts as well. We're gonna have a midweek game in between there somewhere to throw the FA Cup third round in. Again, hopefully we get a lower league team, not Wolverhampton away when we're in the middle of a centre-back crisis and have to shove a 16-year-old at the back.
Never happened before.
You hope you have these type of problems. The League Cup semi-finals are going to be in January somewhere, leg 1 and 2.
I think the important thing with that first game against Sheffield is, and any other League Cup game that we've got in it, is about getting back to the rhythm. So we've come back from Qatar. Christmas been and gone into the new year. We've got Spurs and Man U coming up in January as well. Momentum. Exactly. You come in, you actually do the business with Sheffield, you do the business with whoever in the League Cup, and then you go into those 2 big games massively confident.
We constantly look at City's fixtures and you'll pin out, they've got so-and-so here, they've got X here, that's where they can drop points. City will be looking at us going, Spurs away, United at home, whether we have a League Cup semi and obviously we're going to have an FA Cup third round in there somewhere, that's where they're going to be looking at us going, that's where they're going to drop points.
Yeah. And again, it's back to that critical point just before Christmas and just after Christmas where points get dropped and you fall away. But I think we've proven mentality-wise now, last year was a huge change in the mentality that we were able to drive on through the Christmas break. Klopp's not been, a great December coach, and I think he's learnt now how to deal with it a little bit more.
Look at our December last year, it was unreal.
Yeah, and I think you've got to remember, Klopp's come from Dortmund in the Bundesliga where they get a winter break. He's had to learn how to deal with that winter break, without the winter break, and I think he's found his formula now.
Which is exactly what we're on here, really, anyway. So, heading February, you look at that February month, it's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite nice, February. If you can get through them, like you said, we can get through them Tottenham and United games. We head in February, we've got a pretty easy month. Southampton at home, Norwich away, West Ham at home, Watford away. You can think we'll have at least a Champions League round of 16 two-legged tie in there somewhere.
And you just think normally in February, that's where you you think you get the Cities away and the Man United away. It's real shit games.
You can see nothing there, the maximum point.
No, and that's great. It's great to see it. The fixture computer has been counting for us for February, no question.
That's it. Head into March, we have, again, not a bad month. Bournemouth at home, Everton away, Palace at home.
Again, I don't see any more.
This is where fixtures start to heat up, though. Although it looks like an easy month, we do have it's round of 16 second leg. We could have an FA Cup quarter final in there somewhere, and it's around this point in the season where injuries start to add up.
Yeah, and again, it's it's February you start getting the niggles that then start putting people out into March and stuff. So, but we've got the squad. We do have depth in squad now, and hopefully we'll have used it correctly through the previous rounds. And I still don't see us doing anything than taking maximum points from March.
And like you said, because we have, hopefully we'll have an easier group. Hopefully we finish top. You're expecting the round of 16, hopefully get a bit of an easy squad than Bayern Munich. But as we've shown in the past, even if we don't, we're a team to be feared.
Absolutely. Nobody's going to want to come anywhere near this Liverpool side in Europe.
But you'll happily take maybe your so-called bigger side because we have got an easier month.
Yes. Yeah.
So the running, everyone knows the running starts from April. It's off with an absolute colossus of a game away to Man City, which is, depending on how the season goes,
that could be the decider.
And which it's proved to be this year. You look at it now and say that's a must-win. But, if you've done the business earlier on in the season, as we had of last season, we go there just needing a point.
I still think we have to beat Man City home and away to take this title.
Which is where you and me differ. I think we just need to beat them over 2 legs.
For me, again, you go to that Man City game and you don't set up for the draw. You set up to try
100%. I'm not saying, set up for the draw, because this Liverpool side should never fear anyone and set up for a draw. However, if it gets to 10-20 to go and it's level, and they will be pushing, because if we have done the business as we had on this season, they'll be the team pushing for the win. They look at that and go, a point away at Anfield and a must-win at home will see us lift the title.
I think, we'll have done the business at Anfield, and this tie comes at exactly the right time. We just need to. I think last year we set up in the away tie against City, in the mentality of,
if we lose, we're still 4 points clear.
Yeah, and we'll take a point. A point's enough. I think we've proved.
They'll drop points down the road.
Exactly. At this point, there aren't many points left ahead, and if we take 3 points off them there at home, at their home, then I think the psychological damage we will do will be unbelievable. And that, for me, calling it now, that's the weekend that the title's decided.
Saying that as well, that's on the 4th. On the 7th or 8th, we're going to have a Champions League quarter-final first leg, and that's where the Champions League really starts to heat up.
Yeah, so, again, it depends who you're playing.
Do you have an eye on the Champions League as well?
I think at that point, it'll be a case of knowing whether you're doing the home leg first or the away leg first and 100%. How that clashes. And that will depend a lot what teams get put out. But I don't see us going anything for a full squad for City. And then the first leg, I can see us actually, again, the first leg trying to do damage limitation rather than trying to do damage limitation with Man City and to do the business in the second leg.
Finishing off that April month, start of the run-in, Villa at home, Brighton away, Burnley at home. You expect 9 points here.
Yeah.
Even though a Champions League second leg quarter-final and a semi-final first leg is going to be thrown into later that month.
But that's where I'm saying that the second leg of the Champions League is where the full squad goes out. We've probably, in the first leg, got a draw because we've been in around the Man City game. On the second leg, we go to win. And then once you're getting into semi-final phase, well...
You back anyone. You back us in the semi-final, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Absolutely. Back to head of steam and rhythm, momentum, all that kind of stuff.
So we head into May. Starts off Arsenal away from home. A semi-final second leg is going to be between that and Chelsea at home. And Newcastle away on the final day. It's probably the toughest as you can get for a run-in.
Yep. And
without having City or United itself.
And depending on what happens, an FA Cup final somewhere wrapped in and around May as well.
It could be a chocker month. It's the Arsenal game away from home I'm looking at. If we are in the running for the title, I would back us against anyone at home. So, and I think Chelsea are going to be in a transition phase this season anyway. So hopefully they are on the beach by that point. Hopefully they've secured top 4 on the beach. It's the Arsenal away game that worries me.
Yeah, and again, depends on what Arsenal do in the transfer window towards the end, because we're not sure.
Make it easy. Let's just win the title at home to Chelsea, because I really hate Chelsea. Let's win it at home and lift the title in front of them, thanks.
I think it's a good idea. It's a shame that the last game of the season's away.
It's a tough game away to Newcastle. We saw this year.
It is. And if they've got the new ownership in, a new manager in, they've had a half-decent season, they'll be up for a big party at St James's Park. So, yeah.
Well, let's hope we spoil that party and have one of our own. And are you up for a trip to Istanbul on the 30th of May?
I think we should be looking at hotels now.
So, Champions League final, 30th of May. Hopefully, we've listed the League Cup in the Super Cup in December, League Cup in February, Premier League wrapped up at home to Chelsea. Enjoy the last day away to Newcastle. Lift the FA Cup on the third week after the final day of the season, and then 2 weeks later, lift the Champions League in.
Pick up number 7
and lift that in Istanbul to do it all over again.
I'm up for that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, have you got your credit card out?
No worries.
Book the flights now, yeah.
So, right, I think that'll do us. It's been a quick snippet on next season's fixture list.
Yep. And, thank you, Scott.
Easy. If you haven't followed us on social media, at the Football Pink Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Also, we're starting to upload the podcast onto YouTube as well. So, go give that a listen. And we'll see you in the next one.
All right.
Up the Reds.
Cheers, guys. Up the Reds. Did I tell you we won number 6?